In this review, I'll be evaluating the plot of Pokemon Violet and giving a review of its narrative aspects. This review won't touch on the mechanical aspects of the game as I don't feel I can adequately speak about those. And because this is a plot review, there will be spoilers, so please consider this as your warning. But with that in mind, here's my review. There are 3 individual storylines in Pokemon, with a point where they all converge afterwards. There's Victory Road, Starfall Street, and Path of Legends. All of these quests become available not long after the beginning of the game. Your character is a student at Pokemon Academy, and on their way to their first day of school, they encounter a legendary Pokemon, Crash Landing. This Pokemon is Miraidon, and he becomes your mount for the rest of the game. After some filler conversations at the Academy, you're sent on a treasure hunt. This treasure hunt can be anything you want it to be. Find what you want to find. Whether that's completing the Pokédex, abolishing Team Star, exploring the mystery of the Titan Pokemon, or becoming a Pokemon champion by taking the Gym Challenge. So, from the outset, it is made clear that this has a very open plot, with few limitations. And although this flexibility may sound appealing, it would really only work if the individual quest lines kept you engaged. And I can say that 2 out of 3 did not. Victory Road is what comprises the skeleton of your typical Pokemon game. You visit the various towns and cities within Paldea, and fight gym leaders for one of 8 badges you need to obtain before you fight the Pokemon League. As usual, each of these gym leaders has a specific type of Pokemon that they favor, and they each have a little test for you before you're actually allowed to face the leader. The tasks that you have to complete are pretty unengaging and include having to roll a giant olive or rounding up a flock of Sunflora. I found absolutely none of this endearing. The personalities they assigned to gym leaders were cringy attempts to mock contemporary culture. You've got the streamer who has simps donating her money, the geriatric rapper, and the hipster who thinks that everything is art. But in true Larry fashion, let's get this over with characterized so much of my Victory Road experience. You intermittently meet up with your rival Nimona throughout your gym challenge, and she always wants to battle or remind you that she's your rival. Her personality honestly doesn't extend far beyond that, and after playing every Pokemon game since the original, I was really expecting better scripting. The same can be said for the Elite Four, who are also nothing to write home about. Meeting and fighting them doesn't carry the same gravitas as battling Lance or Cynthia did. Honestly, nowhere close. Starfall Street involves working alongside the school's director to disband a group of disenfranchised youth known as Team Star. You initially meet Team Star when you rescue probably the nerdiest looking girl in Pokemon history, basically Pokemon's adaptation of Velma, from 2 members of the group. After being sent on your treasure hunt, the school's director shows up in disguise, and a mysterious figure known only as Cassiopeia directs you to take them out, 1 base at a time. These bases function roughly the same way as gyms do, except in these you fight a guard and then use the Let's Go feature to take down 30 trainer Pokemon in 10 minutes, and then you fight a pseudo gym leader. The star boss always has a car Pokemon which is much stronger than its level would suggest. It would be unique if every single Pokemon wasn't a car Pokemon at the end. After defeating the final misfit, you get to know a little bit of the backstory of that leader 1.5 years ago and their relationship with the other Team Star bosses. After defeating all of the bosses, Cassiopeia reveals herself to you as the girl from the beginning. And honestly, if you couldn't see this plot twist coming, you might have actually found the whole storyline interesting. This really felt like much more of a chore than Victory Road, because I actually thought that they might do something interesting with this plot, and I was sadly disappointed. The last of these 3 storylines was Path of Legends. In this, Professor Churro, who you've spoken to, intermittently requests your assistance, Additionally, your friend Arvin wants you to go and investigate Titan Pokemon who have been appearing throughout the world. These Titans are giant metallic Pokemon that basically look like they came out of a wish order. You fight these Titans, and when they're defeated, they open up an entrance to a cave where you find mystic herbs. It turns out that your friend Arvin wanted help investigating these Pokemon because he knew the herbs might be able to save his best friend's life. Mabostiff is a dog Pokemon who got severely injured and isn't responded to conventional treatment, and after each Titan is defeated, Mabostiff becomes a bit healthier from consuming these herbs, and Miraidon gains new abilities. The story isn't long and drawn out and is definitely the most compelling, and it might be because I'm a dog guy, but seeing a man do anything to save his best friend's life is much more captivating than either of the two other storylines. After these 3 quest lines are completed, you'll need to venture into the Great Crater of Paldea to stop the Titan Pokemon from escaping, and of course, you'll need the help of the 3 friends you made along the way. During this time, Professor Churro is revealed to be Arvin's father, and it's evident that Arvin resents him for abandoning him to stay in the Great Crater to conduct his research. As you continue deeper into the crater, you hear more about the professor's backstory, and you find out that he built a time machine and that the Titans are actually Pokemon from the future. Miraidon is also one of these future Pokemon. When you meet the professor face to face, he turns out to be an AI version of the actual professor. The real professor died years ago when a future Pokemon went after Miraidon, and the professor jumped in the way to block the attack. It's sad because Arvin was under the impression that his dad didn't have time for him, but in fact he was actually dead. The AI tells you that you need to destroy the time machine to stop the future Pokemon from coming out, but that when you do, he'll have to battle you. This all culminates in one final Pokemon battle with your Miraidon, who's finally able to battle against another Miraidon. The time machine is finally dealt with, and the AI version of Arvin's father decides that he will go to the future. There's a sentimental sequence where he tells him that his father would have been proud of him, and then the game basically ends with the 4 friends walking away together. Needless to say, this was much better than the 3 main plots individually, and it actually had a pretty unique scientific AI twist that I hadn't seen in any other Pokemon game. So it was actually novel content. In conclusion, it's tough to call the plot bad at all, because I found 2 out of 4 parts to be great. It just really sucks that they made up much less time than Victory Road or Starfall. They were certainly the better parts that should have been expanded upon to make up more of the game. And assuming that I would weigh them all equally in review, I would give Starfall Street a 3 because I did not get any enjoyment from it. I would give Victory Road a 5 because it was essentially the conventional Victory Road that you had played throughout every other Pokemon game with a less compelling cast. Path of Legends was an 8 because it was short, sweet, and compelling. And I would give the conclusion a 10 if it stood alone, ignoring all of the other weights. So overall, that would give this game a 6.5. That concludes my review. Please let me know what you thought about Pokemon, and let me know if you agree with my assessment. If you like this review, please consider subscribing and let me know what other content you would like to see. Thank you, and I will see you soon with another video.